let's make sense of the trigonometric ratios. Like when you plug in something like, I don't know, cosine of 58 is equal to 0.5299. What the heck does that number mean? Well, it's actually pretty easy to understand. So let's start by talking about decimal and percentages. So if we have 0.7, how much is that in percentage? That is actually 70%. 0.07, that is 7%. And if you have a full 1, well, that's the 100%. That's the whole number. That's the whole amount. And something like 2, well, it's above 100%. Actually, that's going to be 200%. Okay, knowing that, let's go back to here on the left. And we have that I have an angle of 30. I have an opposite, which is 8, and a hypotenuse, which is x. Okay, so then I set it up. Sine of 30 is equal to 8 over x. So now if I need to solve for this, I realize that it's 8 over sine of 30. I plug it into my calculator and I get 16. So this ends up being 16. And it kind of magically happened. I don't know what the sine 30 is. But sine 30 is actually equal to 0.5. 0.5, 0.5. What does that mean? Well, that's 50%. So what is that saying? Oh, it's saying that 8 is 50% of my x. 50% of the value. So if 8 is, if that number is 8, then the hypotenuse needs to be double, 16, because that's only 50% of it. So if that's the case, then I start to understand these numbers. Let's go with the first one. Sine of 44.5 is equal to approximately 0.7. Okay, so 0.7, that's 70%. 70%. And sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So what we know is that the opposite side is 70% of the hypotenuse, right? This one is 70% of this one, and it kind of looks like it. This diagram now we'll use for the other two. It's not done to scale, but just to get an idea. Cosine of theta is equal to 0.98. Okay, this is 10. I forgot to write it. Cosine of 10 is equal to 0.98. So when 10 is the small angle, 98%, the adjacent is 98% of the hypotenuse. So that means that this one, the adjacent is almost the same size as this one. And it kind of makes sense. Now if I say tan of 10, right, tangent of 10 is 18.18 or 18%, which means that because tangent is opposite over adjacent, this one was adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent means that the opposite is only 18% of the adjacent. The opposite is 18% of the adjacent. The opposite, which is this one, is only 18% of this one. And you can see it's a lot bigger. Now this diagram's not super good, but you kind of get the idea. Now that you have those numbers, you can make more sense if you think about them in percentages, and you can make sense of trigonometric ratios.